When my dad told me I was crazy that we were going to homeschool, he wasn't telling me that I didn't have the ability to teach my children, or that my husband and I didn't have the ability to bring up our 5 sons with excellent education. What he was telling me was that it was going to be hard. He said, Becky, being a full-time wife is a full-time business. It's a full-time job. Being a full-time mom, which I was, is a full-time job. And you're going to add a third full-time job on top of that, and you're going to educate your kids. How on earth are you going to do 3 full-time jobs and do them all well? And I looked him right in the eye and I said, I'm not. There's going to be some days that I'm going to be a better wife. Some days I'm going to be a better mom. And some days I'm going to be a better teacher. But I'm never going to quit. We're going to do what we know we're supposed to do every single day until the good Lord tells us to do something different. And I can tell you that was a couple decades ago. And there are yay-sayers and naysayers and complainers and commenters and trolls that think that if you homeschool your kids and you don't sit them at a table with a pencil and paper, that they're going to be failures. And I'm here to tell you that is not the case. No, our kids did not follow the public school system's plan of indoctrination. They just didn't. Why? Because if you look back at education prior to the invent of public school, children were brilliant. They read and they memorized and they wrote and they used excellent writing as a mentor for teaching them how to write. And if you read the writings of people from before the public school system, you will probably have to pull out your dictionary because you might not understand a quarter of the words that they wrote, because they were well educated. They were marinated in excellent story, marinated in excellent literature. And my husband and I knew something, and I don't know why we knew it. I can only attribute it to the hand of God, because we knew that if the kids were marinated in excellent story, if we focused on character training and we kept our family as the center of what it is that we did, that we didn't lock our kids in a closet, but we actually brought them out every Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Mondays to socialize with people of various ages and stages of life. And we taught them etiquette and courtesy and responsibility and diligence and discipline. And we focused on things that matter, like mastering your math facts that you're going to need, so that unlike the plumber that came to my house to install a shower, he got all the way upstairs and he was like, shoot. And then he brought my boys outside and he said, boys, I'm going to teach you a lesson. He said, you need to measure twice before you cut. He goes, look at what I did. I brought a shower to install in your mom and dad's house, and I only measured it once. And when I cut it too short. So now I'm going to have to go back to the store, buy a new shower, and come and install it. And it's going to cost me extra money. Not your mom and dad, me extra money. I was so thankful for that life lesson. Thank you, Willie. He showed the boys the necessity of measuring for precision rather than measuring for a grade. So my husband and I marinated our kids in excellent literature, teaching them the value of the written word, marinating in the word of God, teaching them things like chess. That was my husband's idea. They would play chess every single day so that they would be able to think many steps in advance. Oh, they are all brilliant now. We also focused on the art of communication. The boys are all excellent writers, and they can stand in front of a crowd and move you with emotion, teach you in a way that you're not going to forget, or entertain you, depending on what the purpose of that piece is that they're sharing. Don't get hung up on what the public school system is trying to tell you. Schools are not meant to educate your kids. They are there to indoctrinate your kids into a system that no longer exists. Carnegie and Rockefeller, when they put all that money into the school systems, what they wanted was to train up a future workforce and provide a future for their products and services, a whole group of generations that would just buy what they created. That is not the universe that your children are growing up in, and it's why school is falling short. When you look at your 12, 13-year-olds, you're going to see that they are hungry and ready for their future. They just are. You'll see it. They'll start to be a musician, be a dancer, be a scientist, be a mathematician, be a future doctor, veterinarian, business owner, fill in the blank, cook, chef, baker, bottle stick, candlestick maker, whatever the thing is. You'll start to see it come up. And if you feed into that and give them the tips and the tricks and the tools and the teaching that they need, they'll become a master of their craft, just like in the good old days. That's what they did back in the days when people were really educated. They would train them up academically until they were 12 or 13. They would graduate them, and then they would point them toward their goal or purpose, and then they would give them what they needed to get there. Don't think that by handing your kids lesson 17, grade 11, or anything, that they're going to be better off than if you identify a potential future and then you start helping them get towards that potential future. It starts to raise its head right around the time the kids are 12 or 13. It's important. I'm not saying all schools are bad. What I am saying is customizing your child's education after they've learned their foundational things is beautiful. Beautiful. And I have seen this work time and time and time again, that you take kids that are well educated and then you point them in the direction towards their goal, and you just stand there on the sidelines and you say things like, wow, she's amazing, or oh my gosh, he's a champion. You're going to be dumbfounded if you can break away from all the noise and you can actually teach the child and equip them for what they should be doing after. You can skip right over adolescence. That's an invent of the modern world. It didn't exist. It didn't exist before the public school system. It's kids got to a certain age and then they were handed a future, they walked into it, and they were treated like young adults. And when you do that to your kids, they rise up to that level. I promise you, they rise up to that level.